welcome to the latest installment of My Dad Listens to This. I'm Juliet the daughter.
And I'm Kevin the dad.
And today, we're talking about not Beauty and the Beast, but Beauty and the Beat by the Go-Go's. Specifically, the 30th anniversary edition. So, Dad, what do we need to know about the Go-Go's in this album before we get started?
Okay, well, in the late 70s, Belinda Carlisle, Jane Wiedlin, also known as Jane Drano, gotta love it, and Margot Olivaria met while attending punk rock shows. After seeing the last Sex Pistols show in San Francisco in January 78, before their inevitable reunion in 1996, which Mike and I went to see.
Was it good?
I gotta say it was good. It was good.
Nice.
They decided to form a band. That was one of the tenets of punk. Anyone could do it. Even though none of them knew how to play instruments they learned. Belinda was on vocals, Jane on rhythm guitar, Margot on bass. They had Alyssa Bello on drums and Charlotte Cathy on lead guitar. They called themselves the Misfits at first because, they didn't fit in anywhere.
Oh.
Eventually, they changed their name to the Go-Go's with the apostrophe, and I'm assuming the apostrophe was there so people wouldn't pronounce them as the Go-Go's.
Ah, I see.
And then another band came along and assumed the Misfits name. In 1979, Gina Shock replaced Alyssa Bello on drums, and the band moved towards a more power pop sound, which is kind of like catchy songs, catchy tunes with a heaviness of sound, like mushing the Beatles and the Who together. And Pete Townsend was the one who actually came up with the term.
Oh, okay. Was that like his Sail Away album almost? No, not Randy Newman. Oh my God, I keep forgetting the names. Pete Townsend, he did that album.
Rough Mix.
Rough Mix. Why did I say Sail Away?
I don't know. But no, not really. Probably more like early Who.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, the band played local gigs, learning on the go, or on the go-go. Sorry. They recorded a 5-song demo, and in 1980 they supported ska groups Madness and the Specials.
Oh, Madness.
In Los Angeles and England. They spent half a year touring England and released a demo version of We Got the Beat on Stiff Records and got a minor hit in the UK. An import made its way to the US and became an underground club hit. They were popular enough to sell shows but had a tough time getting a record deal. At the end of 1980, Margot fell ill and Kathy Valentine replaced her. Belinda wrote in her autobiography that another reason was Margot missed rehearsals and did not like the band's move away from punk. In 1982, Margot sued the band for wrongful removal, and the suit was settled in 1984.
God.
The band signed with IRS Records in April 1981. Kathy said IRS was where you went if you couldn't get a deal with a real label.
Oh, ouch.
And the thing was, it was run by Miles Copeland, who was related to Stuart Copeland from the Police.
Oh.
And they had some sort of connection with touring and what have you. Beauty and the Beat came out in July of 81, and it took until March of 82 for it to hit #1. And when it did, it stayed there for 6 weeks.
Wow.
Our Lips Are Sealed and We Got the Beat were the huge hits. They toured with the Police, on their Ghost in the Machine tour, and were nominated for Best New Artist Grammy, losing out to Sheena Easton.
Isn't that the one where it's cursed?
Yeah.
So how did Sheena Easton escape that one?
I don't know, because she's Sheena Easton.
Oh, so maybe the trend didn't start until later?
Nah, it's always been there. But yeah, she's one of the few to survive.
Who are some of the other ones?
To have survived?
Yeah.
I don't know. Not off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you.
We'll
the only way I found out was Sheena was from doing research. Okay, their follow-up album, Vacation, came out in July of 82. It did okay, and how 80s is this? The song Vacation was released as the very first cassette single.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and yours truly, that would be me, made this point known on Casey Kasem's American Top 40.
Oh, yeah, which we have on vinyl down here.
Yeah, because he said I think it was a Bryan Adams song. So since it was back in the 80s, I actually wrote a letter, dumped it in the mail, and son of a gun, the guy read it on his show and ended up playing Vacation. So, that's my little contribution to rock and roll history.
Once again,
I'm Casey Kasem.
there you go.
Thank you. Okay, so The thing was, though, the band lost its momentum as Charlotte had to deal with a broken wrist, so the
Ooh.
band couldn't tour. And also, Gina underwent surgery for a congenital heart defect.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah. And I think I remember seeing a picture of the scar.
How?
Oh, maybe it was someone else's scar. I don't know, but I could have sworn there was one taken of her with her little scar.
Oh, like after she got out of the hospital or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
Okay.
And then Charlotte, even though it said it was broken wrist, she also had to deal with carpal tunnel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's no joke.
Yeah. In 1984, the band released Talk Show, which Martin Rushent produced. Richard Gatherer co-produced their debut and solo produced Vacation, so there was a change in sound. And to me, it sounded great. Martin Rushent, I think, gave them more of a grown-up and tougher sound. And Talk Show was probably my favorite album by them. Unfortunately, despite critical raves, it did not sell well, despite having 2 top 40 hits, Head Over Heels and Turn to You. Now, the recording of the song Forget That Day was what led Jane to leave the band. She wanted to sing it as it was a very personal song to her. The rest of the band said, nope. Another reason that she left was an argument about royalty sharing. Despite Jane writing a lot of the songs the band wanted her to share. And she said, nope, see ya.
Oy.
The band hired Paula Jean Brown to take Jane's place. They played 2 shows at the 1985 Rock in Rio Festival, but Belinda and Charlotte realized their hearts weren't in it and disbanded. Belinda would go on to have a successful solo career, and Charlotte kind of tagged along, playing guitar for her and writing songs, though Charlotte eventually did have her own group called the Graces. Jane released solo albums, had brief roles in Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home.
Would I know them?
It's a kind of a blink and you miss it cameo.
Are they on the bus?
Who, Jane? No, this is Jane.
Yeah, I know.
On the Voyage Home. No, she's on one of the screens, like when that object comes and starts causing all ships to explode and get destroyed, and she's one of the people on screen sending out a distress call.
signal? Okay.
Yep. Like I said, if you blink it, you might miss it.
Okay.
She was also in Clue, where she played the singing telegram girl.
Oh, that was her?
That was her.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And she was also in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure as Joan of Arc.
Wow, she's done a lot of cameos in some pretty cool movies.
And she's also done a lot of voice work for cartoons.
Oh, cool.
And the others kept on keeping on. Kathy had some bands. I think she ended up going back to one of her first bands called the Textones. And Gina had a band called House of Shock. And as far as I know, they released one album of the same name, I believe. In 1990, they reunited to play a benefit for the California Environmental Protection Act.
Oh, wow.
And released their greatest hits compilation with a not so great remake of Cool Jerk, which they had already done a version on Vacation. Can you do it? Can you do it? Can you do it? Can you do it? No?
Nope.
Okay.
Nothing.
And they did a tour, and I saw them at the Orpheum in Boston in November of 1990. And the seats were kind of back, but could still see the band.
And here.
Oh, yeah. In 1994, they released the 2-disc best-of career retrospective, Return to the Valley of the Go-Go's. They recorded 3 new songs, including the great The Whole World Lost Its Head. It contains one of my favorite lines, Mary ate her little lamb and punk rock isn't dead. And I use that as my screensaver crawl back in my Blue Cross days.
Really?
Yeah. This is like, you could either have 4 things to choose from, and one of them was you could type whatever you wanted to, and it would just crawl across the screen.
I'm surprised you didn't get in trouble for that.
No, I did not. And they did another tour. In 2001, they released their 4th album, God Bless the Go-Go's, which has one of the greatest bordering on sacrilege covers ever.
What's the name of the album?
God Bless the Go-Go's.
God Bless the Go-Go's. Okay, I'm going on Google Images. Oh, so they're all kind of like posing like they're the Virgin Mary?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they did yet another tour. And this time, I saw them at Lupo's in July 2001. So it was 11 years between shows.
Lupo's?
Lupo's Heartbreak Hotel was a club in Providence that's kind of moved all over the place. Now I believe they're known as Lupo's at the Strand, which is like a bigger venue on Washington Street, kind of near the Biltmore Hotel or whatever they call it
Okay.
nowadays. I don't know if they've completely reopened yet, though.
Okay.
They may have. I'm not sure. I haven't seen any ads for them in Motif. They always took out a huge back page
Yeah.
ad in that paper.
Oh, with COVID.
Yeah. Okay. They did more farewell tours, and then they did a 30th anniversary release of Beauty and the Beat, which is now 40 years
Yeah.
old this year.
Mm-hmm.
In 2013, Kathy left due to irreconcilable differences. She wanted 20% of the benefits and revenues.
Yay.
Yep, wanted to do the 5-way split. This was settled out of court in 2014, and she rejoined the band in 2018 when they got their own jukebox musical, Head Over Heels,
Yep.
which premiered at New York's Hudson Theater.
Mm-hmm.
In 2020, a band documentary premiered at the Sundance Festival, which was basically to make a case for them being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Did it work?
It worked because this year they are in.
All right.
And I think they deserve to be in.
Okay. All right. So the album
So
itself.
as for the album itself, as mentioned before, Beauty and the Beat came out on July 8th, 1981, and it took 8 months for it to hit #1 on the Billboard 200 albums chart, which nowadays, I don't even know if a record company would have that kind of patience. But it stayed #1 for 6 weeks, and 40 years later, they are still the only all-female band to have accomplished this feat.
Wow, good for them.
And I think that's a big reason that they're in the Hall of Fame. I mean, if you're looking purely at stats, there's that. Also, all-female band, play their own instruments, wrote all their own stuff. There wasn't anyone behind the scenes pulling strings or what have you.
Yeah.
B&B sold over 2 million copies and was certified double platinum. Also in 1982, it wound up ranking second on Billboard's top 100 albums of 1982 behind Asia's self-titled debut, which was kind of
I don't
like,
know that.
let's see, people left over from different art rock bands like Emerson, Lake and Palmer and Yes. Now, as for the cover, it came in 2 different versions, background-wise. One where the background was pink, which supposedly is the original version, and the other was blue.
Which we have.
I have both versions. Belinda claimed to have come up with the idea for the cover. They were looking for something timeless and incognito because, let's face it, you couldn't recognize them behind all
Under
that.
the clay masks.
Oh, yeah. Now get this. The towels the band used were returned to the Macy's they were bought from earlier that day.
Wow.
That's some serious stones. Hi, I'd like to return these 10 towels, please. Thanks. I mean, I don't know if I put that up there with Whole Foods customers, but yeah, I probably.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Oh, yeah. And you know what?
Well, there was that one person where they bought a cake. They brought back the empty box with the crumbs. And they said, hey, I want to return this cake.
Hey, there's no cake in there.
Yeah. But we still gave them the money back.
Oh, God.
God damn it. Anyway.
Okay, now that incident reminds me of Charlie buying a video camera at Lechmere, taking lots of videos on vacation, and then returning the camera to Lechmere when he got back. And that's probably one of the reasons they went out of business. Beauty and the Beat got good reviews. Nothing like, oh my God, this is the greatest debut album ever. But decent write-ups. And nowadays it's looked on as one of the cornerstone albums of American New Wave.
Oh, okay.
Yep. In 2011, a 30th anniversary edition was released, which included the second disc of them live at the Metro Club in Boston from August 20th, 1981. That was available for years as a vinyl bootleg called Our Lips Are Pink, which I also have.
Oh.
And I got that from Second Coming Records in Cambridge, which unfortunately I don't think is around anymore. But that was the place to go to for questionably legal albums.
Sure.
But they were great for imports, bootlegs up the yin yang. I mean, just a great store.
Maybe the Feds finally caught up with them.
Yeah.
Copyright law.
Now, for the 35th anniversary, a set came out on Edsel Records in 2016 with 11 extra tracks that were previously released on Return to the Valley of the Go-Go's, which I'm assuming is probably out of print. Because I also did some more digging and Edsel Records also put out extra tracks on Vacation and Talk Show. It was kind of like they almost like separated Return to the Valley of the Go-Go's into 3 different parts.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are 40 years later. Now, as for me, at first I had absolutely no idea who they were. And this is going to sound so dumb, but this really happened. I remember walking by Lupo's and seeing a poster for them advertising the show, and it was the cover for Beauty and the Beat. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, is this how they dress on stage? Do they really play like that? How can they play like that?
They would never be able to in a million years, not unless they pinned those towels up the wazoo.
But the thing was, back then it was punk/new wave and anything was possible.
Okay.
I mean, you had bands like Devo coming out in trash bags and just people just getting crazy. So I thought, wow, that's really different. And you have no idea who they are because of the cold cream or the makeup or whatever you call it.
I think it's supposed to be a face mask.
Okay. Now, eventually I heard Our Lips Are Sealed and saw them on Saturday Night Live, but I didn't get the album for a little bit. Eventually I came around to it, and then eventually I got it on CD, and then the 30th Anniversary Remastered Edition, which really, really improved the sound. I mean, I listened to that on headphones, and I was just blown away. Let's see. I also have Talk Show on CD, the original version and the remastered version, and Return to the Valley of the Go-Go's. For vinyl, I have Beauty and the Beat, the blue cover. I also have a Japanese import of Vacation, which is still in mint condition. And I have 2 versions of Talk Show. One's US and one's Canadian. And, of course, I have the Our Lips Are Pink bootleg. And since it was back in the 80s, I also have More Than a Few Pins. And I forgot I had this. I actually found an autographed photo from Jane during her solo days.
How'd you manage that?
Fan clubs.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yep. So let's dive into this album, shall we?
Oh, yes, let's.
Okay, you go first.
First track, Our Lips Are Sealed. Story-wise, it reminds me of Adele's Rumor Has It, where it has someone spreading gossip. Only instead of being confrontational, the Go-Go's let it slide off their backs. They know that the people spreading the rumors aren't important, so why should they worry? And they know that eventually these people will be seen for who they really are, shallow and weak. I would say that sometimes that advice works, but sometimes it doesn't if the gossip mongering is really vicious. I do think, though, based on this one track, that it wasn't the lyrics that made everyone go crazy, it was the vibe of the band with the music and the singers, and so far I'm not vibing yet.
Okay. Okay, the first song and single. Jane wrote this with Terry Hall from The Specials, and the Go-Go's had supported them on a tour in England in 1980. And Jane and Terry had a brief affair while Terry was seeing someone else. So that probably could explain a lot of the lyrics. Belinda sings most of the song. Jane gets to sing the bridge, and her voice would not be that prominently displayed again until she went solo. It's, I can't think of any way to describe it, but it's a bubbly, bouncy song. Or we could be mature and go for effervescent.
Okay.
And it kind of belies the practical advice Belinda is singing. There's a weapon that we must use in our defense: silence. I mean, who knew that silence had 3 syllables? When you look at them, look right through them, that's when they'll disappear. That's when we'll be feared. As for the band, the playing is like very neat, by which I mean tidy. Like not like neato cool. It's kind of like for me, it's a great pop song, but it doesn't let you know what you're in for a lot of the rest of the album. And like I said, it just sounds great on headphones.
Okay. All right, next track. How Much More? I like this one a little bit better. I know that this is supposed to be an unrequited love song, but I would like to see a more sadistic take on this song. Picture this. The girl singing this song is the guy's ex. And of course, being an ex, he's an asshole. So he's doing this on purpose. Every day, he finds a spot with his new girl where he knows his previous girlfriend can see. Then they start acting all cute and cuddly on purpose just to drive her nuts. So I don't want to hear the upbeat, cutesy version of this song. I want to hear a dark version of this song where the singer is being emotionally tortured into madness. But to quote the YouTuber T1J, that's just me, though.
Okay, first off, Gina is killing it on the drums. I mean, like I said, you hear Our Lips Are Sealed first, which doesn't give you any indication of her prowess. But this song, holy shit. She's in my top 5 for favorite drummers. In her early days, she joined a band that practiced 6 days a week, 4 hours a day for a year before they played their first live show. And she brought that discipline with her to the Go-Go's and drove the rest of the band to be that dedicated to practicing and becoming real musicians. And I lifted that from my drum lecture from back in February of 2017. I didn't think it was that long ago.
That's kind of the precursor to this whole show, if you think about it.
Yeah, I guess it kind of is.
For those who don't know, Dad was part of a music club at the Seekonk Public Library, and one day he gave a lecture about drummers.
Yes.
It was great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It definitely has a surf rock feel to it, and I kind of look at it as like Belinda's got it bad for this guy, who of course is with someone else. It's the old love stinks Jay Giles thing. You love her, but she loves him, and he loves somebody else. You just can't win. I don't know, Belinda. How much more can you take? How much more are you willing to take?
Ooh, I hope she's not willing to take much. Okay, next track. Tonight. What? Oh, yeah. Perfect for a song for a night out on the town with the girls. Probably Saturday, though, in my case, not Friday night, because Fridays I need to chill after getting home from work. But by Saturday, my energy's back and I'm ready to party. I think the best part of the song are the O's in the background. Honestly, they could have played that in the chorus over and over for 3 minutes and I would have had a good time. And it feels comfortably 80s as well. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel dated, but if someone said this came from an 80s group, I'd be able to hear it right away. Fun song to jam to in the car or to dance to at the club.
It's definitely punk pop. Now, here's a theory.
Oh, okay.
I've got 2 theories about this.
Oh, okay.
Could this be about vampires? We rule the streets tonight until the morning light?
Hey, I want to see that music video. Someone want to do that? Anybody? Let's do this.
Or it's Bad Belinda and her girl gang. Take your pick.
Bad Belinda vampire girls.
Could be, because they're just ruling the streets.
Yeah. God damn it, why didn't they use this on Buffy?
Because they get dressed up and messed up for our cares away.
They could have used this on Buffy somehow, I think.
Yeah, they probably could have. And maybe the O's are like, oh crap, we got to go back into the coffins.
Or maybe it's like the delight that they're sucking blood. Not like that. All right, is that all you got?
That's all I got.
Okay.
It's a good song. It's a good song, but yeah, reading the lyrics, that was the first time I thought, hey, it could be vampires. And, you know, with L.A., it's possible. We do have a lot of human vampires out
Over the
there
Hellmouth?
feeding off of others.
They probably could have used that in that scene in season 4 where Riley's at the vampire, was it prostitute house or something?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yes.
Yeah, they could have used it in that where he's getting his blood sucked by the vampire concubines. And Buffy comes in and torches the place. And Giles is like, Buffy, this isn't worth your time. There's like a lot of these across the United States. He's like, no, I'm burning this one. Okay, because they didn't know why she wanted to burn it down yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think she burned down the vampire girls that were inside too.
Probably.
So I'm like,
she was thorough.
Yeah, maybe a little too much in that case. Anyway, all right, Lust to Love. Uh-oh, someone caught feelings. A one-night stand turned into something much more, and this is the case where the woman does not want something much more. Like, very much does not want something much more. And she blames the guy because, well, it would have been a lot simpler if he hadn't walked in the first place. I don't think anyone is to blame here, though, because this is a common occurrence, especially if this is a person she feels safe with and trusts him doing intense stuff with her body. But what's interesting, though, is that we know how she feels, but we don't know how he feels. And you may be thinking, well, duh, this is a song from her point of view. But I'm curious, because I like the concept of musical rebuttals to songs where a person is called out and the other person writes a response.
Huh. It could be like, what, me? I did that to you?
No.
Really? Oh, I am good.
This also
He could be clueless.
Maybe. This also makes me wonder about the concept of hookup songs. When did they start? Who mostly sings them? Men or women? Are there any papers or articles exploring the topics of one-night stands in music and how they relate to gender roles over the decades? I know I'm letting my academic side come out here, but I find this fascinating.
Could be almost split down the middle, I think. I don't know.
Even Steven 50-50?
Could be. I mean, the Marvelettes once referred to this as the hunter getting captured by the game.
That's a good description.
And that was
I like it.
in the 60s. So Charlotte starts things off menacingly with her guitar, and then Gina's angry drums come in, and we are off. And Belinda's been loving and leaving guys until she unexpectedly meets the one. She's lost all control. He has her acting a fool until lust is turned into, well, yeah, so he could just be clueless, like, he's just standing there minding her own business, and all of a sudden, twang, Cupid's hit Belinda with that. I was like,
It's like that TikTok where the guys strongly talk,
yeah.
Can't get their words out.
Now, Charlotte provides a tasteful solo. The notes are very clear, and she does this in quite a few of the songs on this album. Now, not being a guitar player, I don't know if her solos are simple or deceptively simple. So,
hey, any guitar players out there want to tell us?
So, Peg in Colorado, any thoughts on Charlotte's guitar work?
Endless to Love, right?
And overall, please let us know.
Please let us know, Peg. All right, so, next track, This Town. The only reason I don't like this song is because it reminds me of the snobbery of private school kids. Barrington kids. And I'm sorry, Louisa, to Kathy and Sam, but this reminds me of some of the kids from Moses Brown, too. Acting above it all, cliquey and exclusive. But the sad thing is that underneath the snotty exterior are people who are frightened and broken because they're trying to navigate their world, which is like a private social club, one that destroys everyone in it. It reminds me of that line from the King's Speech. We're not a family, we're a firm. So when they're singing about how you wish you were like us, you wish you lived in our town, I'm thinking, nah, I really don't. Public school is fine by me.
Yeah.
I don't want to turn into a basket case.
Well, that town would be L.A.
Yeah, that makes
sense. Where they came from. And yeah, I think you picked up on it. It starts off as like, they're so cool. Life's a kick in this town. But then in the second verse, Belinda's singing, change the lines that were said before and reveals the dark underbelly. Discarded stars like worn-out cars litter the streets of this town. People are getting used and discarded like condoms.
It kind of reminds me of Bo Burnham's White Woman's Instagram from his new special Inside, which I know you haven't seen yet, but I've been recommending it to you over and over.
Eventually.
All right, I'll watch it with you when you do, but I think once you hear White Woman's Instagram, you'll understand why it reminds me of this song.
But, despite all that, she can still sing Bet You'd Live Here If You Couldn't Be One of Us. And having been there once years ago, I'd say probably not. I'll take San Diego.
Oh, okay.
When Mike and I when we turned 30 and we did our big California trip, we were in Los Angeles. Oh, man, I think it was 5 days. And we just went everywhere. And it was like, hey, you've got this movie stuff. Hey, you've got this not so great stuff.
I mean, David Bowie called it a stain on the backside of humanity. So there's that.
Yeah,
he's not wrong.
And once again, another menacing arrangement and a clean Charlotte solo. And if this was vinyl, this would be the end of side 1. For me, 5 solid songs, not a clinker in the bunch.
Okay.
Leave us go to side 2.
Side 2.
Or song number 6.
We Got the Beat. I think this song would be much better experienced if you heard it live in concert.
Yeah.
Because you could just repeat the chorus over and over while the crowd claps and sings along. Because when you're at a concert sharing an experience, it makes the message of We've Got the Beat really hit home. Because it's all about how we've got something that all makes us tick, something that lets us have fun, so we're all connected that way. It needs that energy boost of a live show, and you're not going to get that boost while sitting down and listening to the album on headphones. You're just not.
And God love them. I mean, when they've done this live, they've never stretched out that We Got the Beat.
Really?
They've never stretched it out
surprising.
to like, 7 or 8 minutes, because they easily could. And I just give them credit for not doing something like that. And the thing with this song is, like, I've never loved this song as much as everyone else does.
Okay.
And I'm not sure why. I mean, it's catchy, and Gina is playing her foot off on the bass pedal. And there's that cheerleader chant after the third verse. People, kids, and the band, they've all got the beat. I mean, I like this song, but there's something about it that keeps me from loving it. And 40 years later, I wish I knew exactly what that is. I mean, I just kind of keep it at a distance. And I can't put my finger on it. It's like it's like it's squirming, and it won't stay still long enough for me to like
nail it.
To nail it, yeah.
Okay, next track. Fading Fast. This song hits home, but I don't think you necessarily have to have had a romantic experience come to an end to relate to the song. If you're someone who's ever cut a loved one out of your life, you'll relate to this in a way as well. Because we've all had someone we knew in the past when we weren't really our true self yet, in the sense that we didn't know who we weren't the best version of ourselves we could be. So if you let that person back in, you're letting in all the crap you're trying to put behind you. And your growth is going to be stunted and you're going to regress. And I think the way most people cope with this is just acting like the whole thing was a bad dream, choosing not to think about that time in their life on purpose. Some days it might be easier than others to turn those memories off, but you're still going to try to make it work. So, to anyone who's contemplating letting an ex back into their life, remember, they're an ex for a reason.
Oh, I like that.
Well, that's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, for me, this song sounds like This Town, and I think someone could do a mashup of both of those songs. It's just as catchy. And for me, I gotta, as for the content, it just kind of came down to you lie, goodbye, and I'm gonna do my best to forget you. Mm-hmm. And it has my favorite Charlotte guitar solo. It's short, it's to the point, and again, it's just like very clean playing. You can pick out every single note. And once again, I have to ask, simple or deceptively so? Peg?
You there?
We need your 2 cents on this. Thank
Please.
you.
All right, next track. Automatic. There's 2 possibilities as to what the song's about. Really bad sex or really bad one-on-one time. So, if it's about the first, the really bad sex, it reminds me of this joke from Joy Behar. An older couple goes to bed and they try to make love. But they stop and decide to go to sleep. Then the husband rolls over and goes, "What's the matter? Couldn't you think of anybody?" Which, ouch! And if it's about bad one-on-one time, it reminds me of this meme I saw, which I'm going to try to clean up so we don't get taken down by the YouTube censors. When you have, in quotes, fun time, but you're still sad, and it just shows someone in bed crying.
Oh, jeez.
This song is really a downer because, woof, listen, we're only on this earth for a short time, and if you're going to be sexually active at all, you want as many good experiences as possible. Good in the sense that you're consenting, you've taken precautions, and you have fun. And this is about one of those times where it's not awful, but it's not awesome either. So this woman is turning off her brain and just going through the motions. It reminds me of the sketch we saw on Chappelle's show with the wrap it up button.
Yeah.
She's like, "Wrap it up, Dave." Or the scenes in Fleabag where she'd be having bad sex and telling us what it was like in real time. Like when she was with Harry and she slowly pushes him off and she has to finish on her own. Man, this song is sad. So I'm going to end with another Joy Behar joke. Eventually, we're all going to reach a point in our relationship where you ask your partner, "So, you want to have sex or do you want to have Chinese food?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the closest we have to a slow song on this album.
Yeah, because it's going slow. Just get it over with.
Oh, man.
Please.
You got more out of this than I did.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, because I've spent 40 years listening to this, and I've really just haven't given a lot of thought to it, what it's about. Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, it sounds good. It definitely captures a mood. Mm-hmm. And, the closest I can think is maybe just going through life, just doing things on autopilot, no thought to them at all. Mm-hmm. But I will definitely go with your theory.
Yeah.
And I will revisit the lyrics and go, yep, she was right, and just be more depressed.
Yeah. Anyway, next track. You can't walk in your sleep if you can't sleep. This title alone reminds me of Chappelle's show with the meme, "Modern problems require modern solutions." This person's insomnia is making me anxious. Maybe they need a sleep therapist, because if they're sleeping that badly, there's got to be some trauma or something that's preventing their body from resting. But it feels like this woman is trying to cheer her partner up with some teasing humor, like, "Well, there's one bright side, you can't sleepwalk if you can't sleep." And we've all been there, trying to alleviate our partner's sorrows with humor. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. So her partner is going to laugh, or they're just going to sit there like an exhausted gremlin and are thus unamused. I mean, I don't think I'd be able to sleep if this song was on, but based on the tone of the music, I'm willing to bet that this partner was amused and gave them a kiss.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how I start off, like, always look on the bright side of life, I guess. And also, you can't talk in your sleep if you can't sleep. So, that too. You're not going to say anything that's going to get you in trouble. And with the walking thing, it's not like you're going to, like, fall down the stairs or something. But it sounds like his insomnia is keeping Belinda up, too. Mm-hmm. And a peppy surf rocker like this could definitely keep you awake at night. And you know what? As I was listening to this, it just stopped me in my tracks. You know who this sounds like? And hear me out, Bo Diddley. And it took me 40 years to figure out it's the Bo Diddley beat in the background.
Oh, okay.
He would have done an interesting version, I bet. Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, I could hear that.
Bo Diddley, walking in your sleep. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. That's as far as down that road I'm going.
I like the implication that Bo Diddley is walking in my sleep. It's like, if you have one of those dreams, and be like, what the is Bo Diddley doing here? That might have been when I still had when I was still recovering from my wisdom tooth surgery and I was on narcotics. That would have made sense then.
Did Bo show up?
No, but it was weird because when I was on those, it was like I'd feel so relaxed. I was about to go to sleep. But the thing is, I wouldn't be dreaming. I would be a third party observing my dreams.
Okay, that makes sense.
It was really weird. But man, I slept great.
I bet you did.
Yeah. Okay, next. Skid Marks on My Heart. When I read that title, I typed, this is either going to be very clever or it's going to read like a bad poem.
At least it's not skid marks on my shorts.
I feel like this is sort of the opposite problem of Lust to Love, where she's into this guy, but this time he's the one who only wants the sex and it's hurting her. A lot of car metaphors that aren't exactly Shakespeare, but I don't think anyone's paying attention to the lyrics. More so the emotions behind it and the music. And I gotta say, it has a nice touch with that Hawaii 5-0 Straight Jackets-esque guitar.
And the drumming.
Yeah.
Yeah, now, Roger Taylor of Queen wrote and sang a song called I'm in Love with My Car.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, I remember them poking fun of it in the Bohemian Rhapsody movie.
Yeah. Now, apparently Belinda's guy makes Roger's relationship with his car look platonic.
Like that guy on My Strange Addiction? There was a guy in My Strange Addiction who liked to get romantic with his car.
Okay.
I don't know how.
I don't know, and I don't want to know.
Me neither.
Belinda and Charlotte wrote this one, and I think the wordplay is hilarious. You're burning rubber like my love. I buy cologne, you want axle grease. I need promises, you want Motor Trend, which is a car magazine.
Huh.
And this is one of the few songs where Belinda gets a songwriting credit. She didn't contribute a whole hell of a lot, but apparently when she did, she was on the mark. But I've always thought this song was hilarious. I mean, it's just another one of the hundreds or probably thousands of car rock and roll songs, except it's like, you love that car more than me. And it also kind of reminds me of Shania Twain, That Don't Impress Me Much, where the guy in the song is like, really taking care of his car. He wants her to wipe her feet before she gets into the car. And, Yep.
See, here's what I want to know. It's because I don't think this is a bad sign, but is it a bad sign if you get into a person's car that you're romantically interested in and their car's a bit messy?
I look at it this way.
Uh-huh.
The interior of a person's car is also a good clue of what the interior of their home is going to be like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I can see that. Okay.
So be aware. So
All
if
right.
they got Burger King wrappers all over the car, odds are pretty good that the house isn't going to be in the neatest condition.
Gotcha. All right, so last track, Can't Stop the World. Go-Go's get existential? I think that's what it is. Only maybe it's not existentialism. Maybe it's nihilism, which is basically nothing matters and life has no meaning, so screw it. Which, to quote the Big Lebowski, say what you will about the tenets of National Socialism, dude, at least it's an ethos.
It's got to be Walter.
Oh, it is Walter. And then later when the Germans show up and Steve Buscemi goes, who are these guys, dude? And John Goodman goes, it's okay, Donnie, they're nihilists. There's nothing to be afraid of. Anyway, and if this is nihilism, this may be the cheeriest version of it in song I've ever heard. And I never thought I would hear the Go-Go's of all groups grappling with that inner struggle. But I appreciate them trying to address those deep questions about the meaning of life and how it affects relationships in their own way with their own music. So I give them a lot of credit and respect.
Uh-huh. Now, I have to admit that I get this song and Skid Marks mixed up sometimes because they kind of sound the same. Both songs start off with thundering Gina intros and then the band joins in. And again, someone could easily do a mashup. And the thing is, I'm not complaining about either song. I love them both.
Just noticing the
Just an
similarities.
observation.
Yeah.
Kathy wrote this, and it ends the album, I think, on a note of hope. Can't Stop the World by Let It Stop You. Either that, or like you said with the whole nihilism thing, it's like, stuff's just going to happen, and you just keep going forward.
Okay. Yeah.
But I kind of looked at it as like an optimism thing. But then there were like in the verses,
So it could be
Belinda's
absurdism,
watching some guy who's just like going through the same stuff again, and he's just not having any luck. But she's on the side saying, can't stop the world, and why let it stop you?
So maybe absurdism then.
That could be.
Yeah.
Great Charlotte solo, and I love the way that the song ends and just kind of ends the album with that zip.
And I was like, oh, that's it?
Yep,
Okay.
that's it. That's all we need.
So since that's it, overall, the Go-Go's aren't that bad. If you grew up listening to them in the 80s, or if you were an adult in the 80s, you'll probably like them a lot more. It's not that they're period specific. I just feel that maybe my generation, we know songs that address similar themes, but with different music that resonates with us. But if you like 80s music or 80s girl groups, then check this album out. And if you don't like either of those things, then don't worry. It's okay. You're not totally missing out. And there are probably songs by other bands that you would like addressing these topics. So, to each their own.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, looking back, I really thought I'd have more to say about these songs.
I did too. I mean, this episode's only 40 minutes.
Especially having lived with them for 40 years. So, a minute a year. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just really taken aback. I don't know if it was like, well, there's not a whole lot here, or it's just really direct songs and straightforward. But
yeah.
what I can say is they're all catchy songs, great playing, fantastic drumming, a solid debut all around. One of the perfect summer albums. And I just highly recommend it. And it's really one of my favorite albums. It just is. Now, as for disc 2, which we are not reviewing, I thought I'd say a few words. Again, It started out as a bootleg of a concert at the Metro in Boston from August 20th, 1981. And the thing is, in this concert, they play every single song from Beauty and the Beat, plus 6 other songs. About maybe 2 or 3 of them were from Vacation, which they hadn't really recorded, or it hadn't even come out yet, but
That's
they were in
enough
the
to pad-
process of trying new songs.
Yeah, that's enough to pad the runtime of a concert.
I suppose 17 songs.
Yeah.
Decent. And there was probably some opening act, which, has been lost to obscurity. I gotta say, the sound quality ain't that great, because I think it was taken right from the soundboard.
Of the second disc.
Yeah, the second disc, yeah. And the playing and singing are definitely ragged in spots, but it definitely gives you a You Are There feeling, minus the sweaty walls and the smell of beer.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would miss that smell. Like, I remember my coworkers and I, when we were done with work one day, we were talking about concerts and going back, and we were saying, we missed the experience of seeing a concert live in terms of, hearing the musicians and getting to see them perform their stuff on stage, but we don't miss the crowd control.
The humanity.
We don't miss the humanity. Because people were like, because a couple of them were trying to book tickets to this concert, and they were like, yay! I forget what the group was, but then we were like, oh wait, we have to go with other people.
Oh, wow.
And we have to stand with other people.
With others. Sharing space with others.
And there's going to be crowd control, and we're going to have to get our stuff checked at security. And if we have to go to the bathroom, we're going to miss something.
See, the thing about the bathroom is if you can hold it until, there's a song where you're just, looking at your watch and, this is so boring. That's a good time to go.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, now we have to, learn how to get along with each other in public.
Again,
and go to
events.
social events, familial and
Work-related.
work-related and entertainment. And you've got to ask yourself, is it really worth it? Do I really want to stand around with a bunch of strangers? Or sitting with a bunch of strangers watching whatever?
On that note, thank you as always for listening to another installment of My Dad Listens to This. Like, comment, and subscribe, and all that jazz. If you follow me on any of my social media accounts, I post the episodes there. And if you're friends with my dad, he can email the episodes directly to your inbox. Once again, we are My Dad Listens to This. Thank you for listening. Dad, anything you want to say to our viewers before we sign off?
Should it be we have the beat or we got the beat?
You decide, fans. We'll be back next time with another album to nitpick and gripe about. Goodbye.